Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome to another webinar for Nexio. This is for our new version of BAT-EMC, version 3.20. In this webinar, we are going to explore our new report generation capabilities, which are extremely fast and powerful. My name is Greg Garza, and I am the presenter for today. First off, let's explore a few rules. In this presentation, we're going to show information, and obviously there may be questions. The request is to turn off your webcam and switch off your microphones until later when you may have questions. Or you can use chat for questions during the presentation, and either my colleagues can answer or I can be asked to answer, and I will do my best to do so. I will also try to make pauses to give you time to ask questions along the way. Please allow me to give a little bit of a background for Nexio, for those that may be new to us. We've been around since 2003. Electromagnetism is our thing, simply stated. That is our focus. We have two primary areas of concern: interferences and propagation. Interferences is that's the area which is most widely known. It involves EMC testing, and that is more or less the focus of today. But let it be known, we have a strong presence regarding the propagation aspects, such as the radar cross-sections and antenna patterns and such. The software was originally created back in 1995 by the founders, and then when Nexio as a company was created in 2003, later in 2010, extra energy was put into the internal research and development department to expand our capabilities and the modules we offer. We have an extremely strong presence in Europe, the United Kingdom, the USA, Canada, Australia, Latin America, and Asia. Please, if I could just request one more time that all those who have joined to please mute your mic, because I got some interferences there just for a moment. I see somebody with the initials KS doesn't have a muted mic. Anyway, let me move forward. This is a brief snapshot of some of our software and products. Obviously, BAT-EMC is very well known, which stands for Benchtop Automated Testing for EMC. And besides the qualification and certification aspects, there's also lab management. And then our investigation tool, the BAT scanner, which some of you may not be familiar with, depicted in this photo there. Oh, it's got to go back in that photo there. We also offer the simulation software, and as mentioned before, for things like antenna patterns or radar cross sections. So extremely useful, extremely versatile. This is a snapshot of some of our engineering services. So besides the software aspects, we offer consultancy as well. And the point to keep in mind is that the Nexio company is a solely focused EMC company. Okay, this is a rough chart showing some of our major modules, which most of you are familiar with. The ones covering radiated immunity, conducted immunity, radiated emissions, conducted emissions, and so forth. These are commonly known. I believe we have the most fully comprehensive reverb package out there. We have the module for doing electrical tests such as transients, bursts, surge. We have the metrology capabilities, as mentioned before, the ones for measuring RF patterns and the antenna patterns and such. But the monitoring is something I want to focus on just for a second. That is huge, and I believe that is the most capable of any of our competition out there. In my opinion, the demands at Ford, GM, and Chrysler were so intense for monitoring that is why we won over those big companies, and that is why they are using our software. Not to mention that they had extensive report requirements as well, customized report requirements. Just some brief numbers here. This is just to show that we have a strong presence internationally, number of users in a number of countries, over 1,600 licenses, 14 sales reps worldwide, and these are the major countries we are in. Very strong presence internationally. Okay, a brief snapshot of our team. The main areas are the sales organization, the development, and the support. And it is through this strongly knit team that we're able to stay on top of evolutions in the industry, changes in the standards, customer requirements, and so forth. The development team is separate from the support team. And one of the main advantages to that is that the development team can stay focused on their agenda. The support team can be focused on their agenda. Let's say the support team was involved in development work, then how could they possibly focus as much attention to the customer and to the support requirements? Wouldn't be possible. Same with development. However, let it be known that in cases of high demand or, say very difficult, challenges, of course, the support team can leverage the energy from the development team and better support our customers that way. So it's a very strong team, very well organized and closely knit. Okay, just a brief overview of the report generation process as we have today. We have the BAT-EMC and database with all the different aspects, the projects, the tests, the materials, the calibrations, and so on. It can have a variety of other things, attachments and photos. So with the Microsoft Word templates that we're currently using, we have tags for each one of those data elements. And we generate a template so that the different data elements can be inserted into the tags, and then a report is outputted in a Word document. So it's all built according to the existing structure. So this is what's working for us now. What are the caveats here are that obviously it requires the use of Microsoft Word. And then the other caveat is that Microsoft occasionally makes changes without telling people or without documenting it very well, as you may have seen, and it can cause things to crash. So what is better about our new report? Well, I already mentioned the biggest one, no Microsoft Word automation. So we are not reliant on having Microsoft Word installed or using the existing templates. However, you can continue to do so for quite a while, but the idea is to try to migrate forward. Flexibility is the other huge aspect. We have a new syntax, and it allows for a lot more features and a lot more flexibility than we had before. And these features are something that I will explore later, as long as with the associated benefits of those features. Performance is obviously a huge factor and probably the main motivating factor. Back in 2017, for our BAT-RF module, we started using this new report generator, and this is where we really got excited about the possibilities of the performance. So it's based on an external Word framework. Aspos is the company that we contract with for that. And let it be known that Aspos specializes in document processing, and Microsoft Word is a key part of that. They have increased expertise, and they can use and offer features which aren't readily available in the Microsoft Word templates as they stand today. So Aspos is the company with which we are doing the new report generation with. It is embedded in our software. Okay, so let's ask ourselves some questions. You as customers, these are good questions to ask yourself to help you determine your migration path forward from the old to the new. For example, how many report templates for BAT-EMC do you have or currently use? 0, 1, or 2, more than 10? More than 10 obviously is quite a demand, and that would help further the, shall I say, impetus to migrate forward. If it's 0 or 1 or 2, and let's say you're only doing some very low level, not too complicated test, then there obviously isn't a huge motivator to migrate so fast. It could be that your current method could be to copy and paste things like graphs and tabular data, in which case the report templates aren't so critical. Now, if you would like to add improvements to the old process of the BAT-EMC report templates, such as increasing the speed or ease for creating the templates, more flexibility with the graphs and the tables and the layouts, well, then this is a huge impetus for you. And is the demand of your use case high enough to require in-depth training for report template creation? For example, a simple lab, it may not be so important, but a complicated OEM like GM or Chrysler, for sure, they would want a lot more in-depth training. And then as far as customized reports are concerned, that is also an option. So it's just something to consider in case you didn't have the bandwidth or the resources to devote toward customizing reports. Well, that is something we can offer. So in the new report, all BAT-EMC tests, emissions by band, metrology, immunity, the equipment lists, and so on, all the data is now available for use with the new report generator. The new report generator is free of charge. As I said, we contract through OSPOS, so we can integrate that with our software. The generic report templates are something that now are provided and are included in its own folder with the new BAT-EMC setups. So when you install the new versions, you're going to see an additional folder with all these new generic report templates that we've created for you. So they should be quick and easy to use, very functional for you, and it gives a nice foundation for future development of your own report templates. And then we have an extensive amount of information in our manuals, and it's pretty straightforward on how to use the report templates, how to create tags and insert tags and so forth. And for anyone who has previous experience with the report templates, they should find this much easier to use. But keep in mind that there could be much more difficult cases. So in the next section, we talk about quotation first, then charged accordingly. Let's say you have a high demand for these reports and they're quite complex. Then, of course, we can provide in-depth training. That requires a lot of engineering time and effort, so obviously that's not free of charge. Same with the customized reports. If you didn't have the resources or bandwidth to do these custom reports, well, this is something we could be contracted to do for you. And all this is to be considered on a case-by-case basis. Just something to consider. Okay. Now allow me to give some of my insights that I have regarding the ASPOS syntax. Obviously, I'm not an ASPOS engineer, nor am I a Word document engineer. My expertise is EMC. Same goes for the company of Nexio. We are EMC specialists, not document specialists. However, we have a definite interest in quality reports, and so that is why we are working with experts. The first syntax element to explore is the display a tag. For those familiar with the previous templates, that's simply a matter of having a tag that was defined either manually or via the software originally, because, you know, in the definition of parameters and follow-ups and such, you can create your own tags. And then the tag was a placeholder so that that data element from the software could be inserted in the report, right? So it's not much different regarding the simple tag operation. Iterate on a list using the for each type command. The idea here is to loop for all UTs, for example, and do this, or loop for all conducted tests and do that. So it allows for looping and iterating on a list for specific items called out in that command, and I can show that in a template on another slide. The condition if could be, for example, if you wanted to define one as pass and one as fail, so that could be a condition. To display an image, this can be a test result. It could be for inserting an attachment or a test photo, a diagram, and so forth. So that is what that syntax element is used for. This next item needs a little bit of exploration, the subtemplates. So let's explore this a little bit. A subtemplate, as it implies, is a portion of a master template. Let's say we have a subtemplate just for a conducted emissions test, right? And that could be used in conjunction with other subtemplates like a radiated emissions test or a conducted immunity test in a large project. So the concept here is, in a large template, it could be very difficult to build, very difficult to arrange, to look exactly the way we want initially. And if there were any issues in the creation, debugging could be a bit tricky. However, if you develop subtemplates, they're easier to create, easier to test and manage, and easier to debug. And so a master template created from subtemplates could be highly desirable for those type of templates which are very complex and have a lot of data. So it's another advantage, another area of flexibility, and also risk mitigation for future developments. Filter, just as it implies, it's another addition of flexibility. It can go through a list of tests and data and filter on certain properties so that only those are going to be used for that report. Format, just as it implies, for things like date and number, where can this be really useful? Places like different countries, you know, Europe or continents like Africa and America, we have the date and numbers in different order. For example, in America, we use a period to separate the digits, whereas in Europe, they use commas, that sort of thing. The background colors, all these things are possible to be formatted, customized. As you know, individual preferences can be huge and make a big difference. So, and more things like summing, averaging, the group by possibility, using variables and charts. Charts, for example, can be used for things like global overviews and statistics. Let's say you wanted to have a chart of the tests that pass and the tests that fail. But the idea is that there's a lot of flexibility and added features here that we can make advantage of, and work toward customizing reports exactly the way you like them. Okay, in this slide, just a brief description of template in the new process. You can see we have the tag for the project name next to fixed text. So that fixed text would have been in the background. And then the project name would have been inserted there, as you can see to the right here. And then for each test, this is going to be the EMI conducted. So we're going to iterate on a list. We're going to loop on that. And it's going to then produce it into the document. So we have subrange 1, 2, 3, 4. So these type of commands built this initial first stage of this report, and this gives you an idea or a correlation between commands and results. Once again, this is a quick tour. This is not meant to be in-depth training. Okay, now allow me to demo the report operation with our software a little bit. And maybe I can just pause just for a moment, or give anybody a chance to type any questions if they need to. And I will just move on here. In this open project, you can see I have a variety of tests that were done for this customer. conducted voltage immunity, radiated electric immunity, conducted voltage emissions, and radiated electric emissions. So what I would like to do, let's have a look at this test. Let's look at the data in it. Okay, here we have a test. It was composed of 4 subranges, the lower ranges, 30 to 1 gigahertz, horizontal and vertical, as well as the upper ranges. It is a combination of a table of suspects above, tabular data, and final data below, and the graph, markers, legend, and so forth. I'll close that. And then let's generate a report for that. So right-click, report new version. I will choose a template I know that is designed for that. And we can give it a name. And I will generate it. So bam, 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000. I know I don't need to count, but when I had to do this with the old method, it took about, I guess, around 17 seconds to complete. So my software closed. Hold on, I clicked on the wrong button. My apologies. That's what I do for. That's what I get for messing around off screen. Sorry, guys. Okay, how about if I generate another report as an example, and let's just verify this has data as well. And it does have data. Okay, great. Just want to make sure it had the complete data, cursors, markers, legends, etc. And once again, I can right-click on that, and I will generate another report. So it will be report new version, and that would be a conducted voltage emissions. I'll generate that one, and I can call it a CE new. And I didn't time the original one on this one, but I do know that the other one took about, I think it was 2.5 minutes to do, but under the new version, it took 17 seconds. So you can see it's a pretty fast generation. So bear with me one moment. I would like to show one of the previous reports that I missed. And of course, this is the RE report with graphs and data and tables. Okay, so one thing that's really amazing, I don't have the data to generate this right now, and besides that would take about 3 minutes, but this is a report from a large lab in Germany, and the original software method we had with Microsoft templates took 45 minutes. Now that seems like an interminable amount of time, and it is slow for sure. But keep in mind, it would have taken the customers many days, possibly weeks, to have done this manually otherwise. But still, 45 minutes is extremely slow. With this new version, this entire test was done, believe it or not, in about 2.5 to 3 minutes, right? And I can just give you an idea of, let me back out a little bit, the number of pages involved in this report. So it's extensive. A number of tables, a number of graphs, the information for the equipment list used, the settings, and so forth. So imagine that for this entire report of 205 pages. It took only about 3 minutes to generate versus the 45 minutes prior. Obviously, that was a major increase in performance, and obviously that was a huge impetus for creating this new method. So while I'm here, there's a couple of new features that we've added that also affect the reporting, so they're intertwined. As you know, we have a test here open, and we have a follow-up section. Okay, so information could be added, photos could be inserted, etc. We have a section as well at the project level. Now, we had one at the EUT level. If you go to the test level, or the test group level, or heading level, shall I say, we have a section for a follow-up and also an ability to add attachments at this level. So this is a new feature that wasn't in the previous version. The nice thing about it is it's another area or way of organizing data, presenting data, showing notes and things which apply to these various levels. And in a very large report, this can really help to distinguish one group of tests from the next. So it's another level of flexibility and a nice feature to be added. Oh, I just remembered another feature. Prior to this time, we had the ability to do the project level, campaign level, or EUT level, the test level, and so on. And of course, you could have more than one EUT. We added a feature, I'll just demonstrate it on this test. If I right-click on it, I can add a subfolder. Sorry. Add folder. And at that level, I could have grouped it to be, let's call this one, I'm trying to think on the fly here. Let's say I wanted to have a folder only for tests that are being done under investigation, because I'm working for an OEM and we are developing a product and there's a number of engineering versions coming out, and what we're trying to do is determine, you know, which version that we want to go to the next beta level with, and you know, how to let's say get it down to the emissions to be lowered. And so grouping things according to your test flow is another way of organizing your test data, avoiding overcrowding of data so that it's not easy to filter through and find your data for future use. But it can also affect the reporting, because reporting can be done on a test level, it could be done on a folder level, it could be done on a project level. So once again, it's intertwined with the improved functionality and reporting as well. So at this time, I'd like to open this up for any questions you may have. And I'm happy to answer or to show anything that may come up. Does anyone have any questions out there? Well, keep in mind that
yes, there is some question, but Olivier Ruff answered.
Okay. I'll pause for another moment.
But just I do not understand the latest question from Andrea Cupido. All template will work also with new template method. So I don't really understand. Okay. So Andrea, if you want, you could activate your micro and ask your question
No, I think I understand the question. So
okay.
let me show. So if we look at the new templates under the BAT-EMC folder, when you install BAT-EMC, we have the existing folders, right? However, there's a new folder created called report template examples. Okay, so all of these new report templates that are going to be included in that folder will only work with the new report generation method. Okay, now the prior report templates, which I could show a list of, but the prior report templates will not work with the new report generator. They will only work with the Microsoft Word template. Any more questions or concerns? Well, I would like to thank everyone for attending the webinar today. I would also like to remind you that there is another webinar scheduled for Thursday. That one is going to be under the subject of the automotive by band, as well as the new testing required by CISPR 25 for hybrid vehicles. And during that time, I believe I can also fit in some time to generate a report, which is very impressive for the automotive by band. Okay, everyone. Well, if that's it, I will conclude the webinar for today, and I thank you for your attendance.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.